You got any crazy Seven Canyon stories that are like, oh my goodness, this happened or that happened? Can you share anything that's happened
How,
out of the ordinary there?
how much time do we have?
For you, Dave,
Um,
for Sedona stories, man, you got all week with me. Dave Bisbee, welcome to Living in the Zone. I'm excited about you being on the show today because you do a few things that I have passion for. One, you're a professional golf teacher at the highest level. You have plenty of experience in that. Second, you do some business with your golf, which I've done for a long time, so I have passion for that. But you also have lived in my beloved Sedona. All my friends go, "Why don't you buy there?" And I go, "Yeah, I've been thinking about that for decades." But the next time I'm in Sedona, where you've been the director of golf at Seven Canyons, if you've never been there, I think if you die, you may wake up there. You may wake up there with a 9 iron right into the most beautiful rock canyon imaginable. But welcome to the show. I want to talk about your life. I want to talk about Sedona. But first of all, how did you wind up in Sedona? You know, it's not a golf destination. At least it wasn't 20 years ago.
well, Jim, great to be on. Thanks for having me. And I think it was inevitable that we were going to end up doing this show. I mean, there are just too many of those things that lined up, right?
There were too many.
And yeah, and how I ended up in Sedona was absolutely by mistake. Was not
Dave,
looking.
I've heard that. I've heard
Yep.
that from so many people
Yeah.
that have moved to Sedona. I go, I don't know how I got here. It was a
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did that happen?
Well, in a roundabout way, 9/11 is what led me there.
Wow.
And yeah, I was doing nothing but corporate golf. We had a company called Strategic Links, and all we were doing was introducing executives and companies to what we did from a consulting standpoint, wrapped in a golf experience. So that's what we were doing from really about 2005 until 9/11. 9/11 happened. Back here in Scottsdale, I get a call from Tom Colseri, who was opening a golf course called Quintero, which I think you've probably played in the north part of the valley. And had a pro-am that they were using to kick it off. He needed another pro to play, asked me if I would do it. I did. Um, and on my team was one of the sons of the eventual developer of Seven Canyons. And, you know,
Coincidence.
yep. And I tell people all the time, it's about the things that everything that has happened that's meaningful, especially in my life, in terms of business and life events, have happened on a golf course, right? So we played, we had a great time, got to know each other a little bit. I get a call from him in about 2 weeks. Said, I'd like for you to come in, meet my dad. We have a place that we're kind of looking at. And so I did. Went in, met his dad. Uh, Seven Canyons was not started yet, and asked me to go up and take a look at it as to the feasibility of it.
Now,
So I did.
had you ever been to Sedona at that particular time in your life?
Yeah, we had. Well, in fact, yes. My wife and I are avid trail runners, and we would get out of the valley, out of Scottsdale, in the summer. And we'd either go to Prescott or we'd go to Sedona, and we would run a Long Canyon Trail, which is just really borders the golf course now.
It's
Yep,
it's a hard. You
yeah.
can't even describe it.
No, you
You
can't.
can't.
And so I drove up there. It was a dirt road into the place. Got in there. Guy put me in an old beat up 4-wheel drive something.
No,
Took me
no
down.
road, no roads, no development.
Mm-mm.
Not
Well, there were a number of things that started and stopped there for
uh,
over the years. So there were roads to nowhere, and little
no.
places where, and
It sounds like a
this guy,
movie, Road to
yeah,
Nowhere.
yeah, he drove me down to what became the practice park, and you've been there. It's the most beautiful driving range in the world. That's why it's called the practice park. But it was there was nothing there. He parked, and I stood right there, and it was such an overwhelming feeling of, well, first of all, if you stand on that range and look out, it's like an amazing view. But what was running through my head was, I can't believe that they were able to get this through, all of the zoning and the
Oh,
committees and the
that's almost
so.
impossible to the
Oh yeah,
red
yeah. And
taking
had
that
it
out.
been it, and it turns out it's not in the city; it's in the county. Had it been in the city, that would have been a different deal. But outside the city limits, and so as I drove back out of there, got back into cell range, I called the developer and I said, I don't know if it's feasible or not, but I can tell you it's irreplaceable. It's the most amazing piece of property I've ever seen. And I
Now, to
said,
put
and
this in
yeah,
perspective, Dave, I want everybody to realize there's an amazing resort that used to be John Gardner's tennis ranch. That's
mhm,
how I got to know
yeah,
Boynton Canyon. Well, on
right.
the other side of Boynton Canyon is the Seven Canyons. So
Right.
they're sisters, really.
Yep.
Most
Yep.
people that if you don't live in Seven Canyons, which you have homes there now, you're going to
Hmm.
stay in the enchantment, right? More than
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And both of those places, I mean, they are off the beaten path. It's not just a destination, it's a destination. You have to mean to
no,
go
no cell
there.
phone. I love it. I love
Yeah.
no. I
Yeah.
do 6,000 cell minutes. Not in
Yeah.
Boynton Canyon. I
Uh-uh.
don't.
Nope. And it's still to this day, it's that way. So, but I told him, the only thing I want to say is I want to be involved in this in some way, shape, or form. I could just see myself fading into my sunset years, giving lessons down there on that driving range, and um,
Wow.
and
So
and
you
really
had
gave, yeah.
this was an epiphany.
Well, it really
This
was. I mean,
aha
I'm
moment.
I'm from Kansas. Yeah, we don't have anything like that in Kansas. The highest point in Kansas is an overpass. So when I was standing on that where that range is going to be, I was like, yeah, absolutely gobsmacked. But I I thought I was going to be there for about maybe 6 months as a consulting contract, and 22 years later, I
They couldn't
finally
believe it.
retired. Yeah, yeah, it was a heck of a run. But yeah, it's an amazing
So
place.
Dave, you've been in the golf business most of your life, all
All
of
of it.
your adult life. Uh,
Mhm.
how'd you go about retirement? And did you wake up one day and went, I, I think I'm done, or there's something new I want to do? What was
And
that epiphany?
more of that. So about 4 years ago now, um, I wrote a book with Connie Charles, who is the business consulting person, the IMAP person, and and it's called Back on Course: Drive Business Performance Through Golf. And the whole basis of the book was about really kind of pulling the veil back from how business and golf um, are such a great partnership, and the things that really do happen because of people in business playing golf and finding great opportunities through that. And I always meant to get back to that. I tried to retire in 2020 from there,
Tried to reach.
um,
I like
at
that.
the end of February.
They
And
said no, you're not doing it. You can't retire.
well, again, I tell you, Sedona has a gravity. It does. And so I tried to retire. In fact, I did. It was the last day of February, February 29th of 2020. It's a leap year. And uh, I was going to go and start doing these business golf seminars across the Troon platform of courses. We did a pilot program at Troon North. And that was like about March 5th or 6th. Um, Great, very successful. Everybody loved what it was doing. And about a week later, COVID hit and stopped everything. And nobody could have guessed, what COVID would do for the golf industry. That it was just going to be this adrenaline shot, and that it was just going to lift the sport unimaginably. I mean, nobody knew. Everybody thought it was going to shut it down, right? So, and as a result of that, um, the developer sold all of the real estate. Every bit of the real estate inside the gates was sold within about 12 months, 12 to 14 months.
And everybody watching this needs to know something. I mean, I look back and you can go through the shoulda, coulda, woulda, but the real
Mm-hmm.
estate in Sedona has doubled and even tripled in the last
Oh,
5 years.
yeah. Well,
It's
because
crazy.
there's not more of it, right? Even the town is surrounded by national forest land, and so it is what it is. And so somebody's got to leave for you to be able to buy something there, right?
Yeah.
There's not big
So,
developments
yeah,
happening.
so here you are living in the zone, living in one of the most beautiful golf venues on this earth. And COVID comes in, and all of a sudden you turn to your wife and go, like most of us during COVID, going, "Well, what about us? What do you
Hmm.
want to do?"
Yeah.
Did you go through that with your wife about if we're going to make a change, this could be the
Hmm.
moment to do that? Did you have that thought?
Yeah, we did kind of. I say kind of. We had sold our home. We were ready to move on from Sedona, and and we figured out that we nobody knew what we were going to do for about a year into that before it really became clear that there was a one light at the end of the tunnel, and that it wasn't a train. And so, we rented a place in Sedona just to kind of wait things out. Well, during that time, four members came together and to wanted to buy the club. The developer, all they were there for was to get all the real estate sold. It was all gone.
And it's all sold now.
Yep. So they were not interested in being, involved in running a club or anything like that. So helped these four guys. Four members bought the club. One of the caveats was that I would come back, and so I came back as general manager, director of golf again. I told them I'd give them 2 years. In that 2 years, we managed to do $4.5 million total restoration of the golf course. If you can imagine it being better, it is. It was the last place that Tom Weiskopf visited before he passed away of his designs.
Wow.
He did the master plan for the restoration, all new irrigation, all new bunkers, all new tee boxes, everything from stem to stern. And we reoriented the course, flipped the nines, built a short game area that you would go and just lose yourself in. It is the most amazing setting
Well, the
within.
first time that I met you
Yeah.
was right there. And when I got on the property, and I've been to the Enchantment over 100 times,
Hmm.
that's where I always stayed. But when I got to Seven Canyons, the first thing I did was go, wow. It was one of those, wow.
Yeah.
I, I, it, I wish people could see through your eyes and my eyes and feel what we feel with Sedona. Now, Sedona is a vortex of electromagnetic energy,
Yes, it is.
and it's palpable.
Yep.
In Boynton Canyon, it's like the trees are watching you, following you. And I've had very strange supernatural things occur in my many trips to Sedona. Have you had any of those crazy trips? Have you seen UFOs? Or I had a experience with a coyote in Boynton Canyon where it came right up and sat down and looked at me in the eye, and we had an experience. I, I don't even know what it was about, but I cried. And then it
Yeah.
got up and turned, walked away, and then it looked over its shoulder at me to say, everything's going to be all right. And I'm like, I'm crying, going, what? How did that
What just
happen?
happened?
And there's a
Yeah.
guy there that I know you've met that plays the flute.
Yep.
What's his name? Do you remember?
Well, we have had a couple of guys. You within the course, you've been up onto Rachel's Knoll, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we have had. I'm trying to think of the guy who plays the flute. But we've had some of the most amazing people who have come and worked at Seven Canyons that are part of that fabric of what makes Sedona such a special place. Um, some who are artists that do some amazing things, and some who are musicians that do things there.
And
The only
some are
Yeah.
psychics.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're
If
the
you,
ones that.
you got any crazy Seven Canyon stories that are like, oh my goodness, this happened or that happened? Can you share anything that's happened
How
out of the ordinary there?
how much time do we have?
For you, Dave,
Um,
for Sedona stories, man, you got all week with me.
well, the amazing thing is, and you and I were talking a little earlier before the show came on about, you can sit in one place in those canyons, and through the course of the day, as the sun moves, all the scenery changes. I mean, everything changes from shadow to light on the rocks and all that stuff. Getting there, as I would be there. I dark and early in the morning. I'm the one that would get there and put the coffee on in the morning and meet with the superintendent before the sun came up to be out on the golf course. And again, as you play and you get out into Long Canyon, you are out there. You are away from civilization. And the things that, I've seen from a wildlife standpoint and them, mountain lions, black bears, um, javelina, coyotes,
Eagles, eagles.
eagles, yeah, yep, eagles. Yeah, I mean, you name it. It's an amazing spot, and the golf course has created this little oasis for them as well. We supply water, we supply grazing, the deer and all of the stuff that are just on the golf course and could care less about you. As you're going through, they're kind of like, hey.
Dave, you've had a great life, and you've got new chapter that you're getting ready to start, and I'm excited and I want to hear about it. But you've been very disciplined. The guy that comes early, puts the coffee on, the guy that leaves last.
Late.
That's a discipline that a lot of people don't have today. Of the five markers of my score system, self discipline, which is first, and I know you have that. I've been to your facility, I saw it. That's your making. Uh, you also have the ability to concentrate and focus. You've learned that with golf. I think that's a hard thing in golf to
Mm-hmm.
focus for 5 hours.
Yep.
Um, but you also have optimism, extreme. and and I know you have a sense of relaxation and passion and enjoyment. Which of those markers have you been able to use that's really set you apart from everybody else? Is it your discipline? Is it your concentration? Is your confidence? What's really helped Dave Bisbee be the success that you've been in the golf industry?
So I'm going to say it can be captured in one word, and that is motive. Motive. The reason, you can call it your why, you can call it whatever you want, but motive, the reason you do something, has got to be one, strong enough to make you disciplined enough to follow it. It has to be such a thing that resonates with you, that you find real joy in doing those things. I have I call it move, MOVE. It's how you get from where you are to where you want to be. Motive is first, optimism is second, vision is third, energy is fourth. And yes, that's what propels me. That is
Well,
what fuels me every day.
you had that move when you made your move to Sedona. When you saw that
Hmm.
property, it resonated passionately that, oh my goodness, this is special, and I could be
Yes.
part of this special project that no one can even imagine. But
Hmm.
another thing you must have that day, you saw into the future. That's a visionary. That's
Hmm.
someone that uses their imagination, their creativity to paint the pathway that you choose and
Hmm.
paint your destination.
Yeah.
How
Well,
great is
isn't that what golf is about, right?
you
Yeah.
gotta, yeah, see the target, and
Yep.
it's just putting the white ball into 18 cups with the least amount of swings, one target at a time. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah.
we complicate it.
Yes,
We
we do.
all of us golfers on the planet. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
my biggest challenge with golfers is when expectations don't meet reality. How you react
Yeah. Right.
and
Exactly.
golf will introduce you to yourself because adversity does, and we probably should even change the name golf to the game of adversity. That's really
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, golf's simple. I mean, what you need to do to move that ball from where it is to where you want it to go, that's really simple. The people that play the game, that's what makes it complicated.
It
Yeah.
really
We're,
is. Oh,
yeah,
it
we're the
really
ones
is.
that are complicated. Yeah.
And for young junior golfers, throwing a parent who loves you and cares about you, but is obsessed over you reaching your
Yeah.
potential.
No kidding, right?
I had a kid yesterday tell me, I'm sick and tired of everybody telling me how much potential I have. I go, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
You want to do something about it.
Yeah.
But your vision, Dave, has made you who you are. You couldn't have written that book without seeing people reading and enjoying and benefiting from your book. So
Yes.
you use
True, true.
guided visualization all the time in your life.
All the time.
So so you've retired technically as golf director,
Hmm.
although I think Sedona's it just keeps sucking you back in. You can't leave, come
Yeah,
back.
yeah, it has a gravity. It does. There is a gravitational pull of that place.
So
That.
David, it's 3 years from now. It's
Mhm.
36 months. If you shut your eyes and I said, so Dave, put in your mind the picture of Dave and your wife and your family, and it's 36 months. What are you doing? What do you envision? Where do you want to go? Do you have something in your mind that you'd like to manifest?
Absolutely. And I will tell you, I would be the poster child for attention deficit disorder. I am. I there are there are so many
These are my
things, and
favorite clients, by the way.
yeah, yeah. And again, I think that is. I want to be an evangelist for what golf can do for your life, your business life, period. That this game is much more than hitting a ball around the golf course. That's really a continuation of what I've done forever. And it's really funny. So
You discovered this early in your golf.
early on, early on, yes.
20 years ago, 30 years ago?
Well, if I tell you how long ago, that'd be telling you how old I am. But it was it was a long time ago that I figured out the connection between this game and I say it selects you, right? Yeah, it isn't that you select it; it selects you, and the ability to help others through whatever it is that they might be going through. You can do that through a golf experience. You can get, as you put it, it can create something that you have passion for. It can create something that relaxes you. It can create something that motivates you to continue to improve. And you're never done with this game. You just never are. So yeah, that's what I see, me doing 3 years from now is what I've done for the last 50.
And would that be more business golf, corporate golf, or are you open
Yeah,
to they take you?
well, open certainly to other things. I think the biggest impact can be made um, with the business golf part of it. And the reason I say that is, with individuals, you're always reaching at it. It's a one, one, one. With an organization or with a company, you can be dealing with hundreds and getting that message to hundreds and getting them to get behind initiatives that are part of the game and investing in it and all of that. So that my focus would be on the business golf side of it.
I know one of the things that's tough in golf is when your expectations don't meet reality, and I've said that
Hmm.
many times. And but that works in business too. When my business
Absolutely.
expectations don't meet reality,
Yep.
it's all about your next
Right.
move, or your next
Yep.
non-move that makes a difference.
Hmm. Figuring
You're
out the gap between your expectations and the outcomes. What is
now,
the gap between those, and how do you close that? Right.
now you're more than a golfer. You're more than a golf business person. You're a husband. You're a father.
Hmm.
Uh, but you're a present tense liver, and living in the zone because you run these trails. That's present tense living.
Yes,
I've
it
learned
is.
recently, especially, most people are spending 80% of their waking hours in the future and the past, and only 20% locked into the moment. You
Yep.
run a trail in Sedona, you're locked in the moment.
Yes, you are.
And the same thing,
Or you're flat on your face.
oh, you're flat on your face.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. That must be one of the great joys in your life to run these trails at dawn or in a sunset with the person you love. Tell me
Mhm.
about that experience.
Well, I mean, it's a again, it was one of those things very early on that um, helped shape the way I approach coaching. I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Path of Least Resistance. It's a great book. Um, I read it at a point in my life where I was about 80 pounds heavier than I am now. I was a 2 pack a day smoker. I would have made John Daly seem like a teetotaler back in
Oh
those
my!
days. And
Now
I
that's an
had,
admission.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not visualizing you doing that,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
understand.
But but that's what golfers did back then. If you look at, I've got a picture on my
Come
office
on,
wall.
Fuzzy. Can you see Fuzzy right now with a cigarette in his mouth?
I was gonna say, I've got a picture of on my wall of Arnold Palmer and Ben Hogan at the Masters, leaning on drivers, cigarette in hand. And when I was a kid, I met Arnold Palmer when I was about 5 years old, and I met him, and he went, put out a cigarette and signed, a glove for me, and I thought he was the coolest human being on the planet. And I just thought that's what being a golf professional was. And I had a really devastating back injury that was going to require surgery, and I was going through the process with the surgeon. When I asked her, "Is there anything that I could do to avoid the surgery?" And she said, "Well, people like you don't have many options." And I'm trying to, through my gray matter, I'm thinking, well, what does she mean, like me, with this particular injury, or was it today? And when I asked her, she said, "No, people with your profile." And it was the first time I'd ever heard that term. And she said, "You drink too much, you smoke too much, you're 75 pounds overweight. You wouldn't do the things that necessary to avoid the surgery. So let's just get it over with." And
Wow, she
that was,
challenged you.
yep, yep. And that was the turning point. That was the point at which the pendulum swung in the other direction.
Isn't it amazing how sometimes the worst thing that happens to us is actually, in hindsight, the best thing that got us
Yep.
from mediocrity to, I need to make a
Yeah.
paradigm change, and you
Hmm.
change the
Yep.
life, and then it's clear sailing. Now, were you
Yeah.
married at the time?
Yes, but not to the woman I'm married to now. Um,
And that's
uh,
another paradigm change, isn't it?
it is. It is. Yeah. And we have been married for 36 yeyears now.
So
So
you finally found your trail mate.
I did. There you go. I'm gonna Let me write that down. I need to.
Come on
I'm
now,
gonna
we're
use that one.
talking about our next book that we're going to do together.
Yeah.
When you connect with a trail mate that has your vision and it's shared vision, because shared vision brought you and your wife together. The lack of
Yep.
shared
Mhm.
vision, it'll tear you apart. You
Sure.
also have that burning vision, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
In
love
fact,
that.
we did a run this morning. Where I'm doing this from is down in our new place in Cave Creek, Arizona, and
Love Cave Creek.
oh, it's great. So and talk about having to be present, right? So now we go out our door. We are right off of a major trail system here, and we love wash running. These sandy washes. There's nothing like doing that. And this particular one goes right into Rancho Manana Golf Course, which is about a maybe about a 7 iron away from us. But this wash goes through there, goes through some unbelievable riparian areas. I had an encounter this morning with a coyote, and had an encounter this morning with an owl, and then
No,
we
an owl encounter. That's
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And as we come out of this wash, you come up onto the. I follow the 18th hole on the golf course back up through the clubhouse, and then circle back to the house here. Um, it's the being in the moment and being present for all of that stuff is one of the things that we share almost every day. And it is an amazing thing. Part of it is you do it for lifestyle because you want to be, able to do things, right? I want to be able to play golf. I want to be able to swing a golf club and play from a standpoint of I'm not just bunting it around the golf course. And you want to be healthy and all of those things. But another part of it is that you understand that there are those that can't. And I could have been one of those. I could have had my surgery and I never did have the surgery, by the way. But you make these decisions, and those decisions become commitments, and those commitments become a life commitment.
Well, you've had a blessed life. You still have a blessed life. You do live your life in the zone. And when I met you at Seven Canyons, I immediately liked you. I like this guy's got the greatest job on the planet. No one knows it.
No doubt.
I know you knew it because I've sat in those canyons and just in awe. I
Yeah.
I can't even describe it. But I've been to Sedona 101 times. Typically in spring training, I'll be out there spring
Mhm.
training, and then I'll pop up on the weekend to Sedona. It's 4 times a year, and next thing you know, I've got over 100 trips, and my next one I can't wait. And so, Dave, I'm excited about your new chapter in your life. I hope we're a part of that. We're looking to do something, but right now,
Yeah.
I can envision you and I doing a business retreat in the most glorious place on the planet, and that would be Seven Canyons. So I know when we hang up and get on the phone in the next couple of days, we're looking to do that. And if we do, if you're listening, anybody out there, you want an experience, go to Sedona. And if you want business and golf, come see Dave and I.
Yes,
Well,
exactly. Yeah.
we'll help you. And Dave, where can we get your book, Back on Course Golf?
It is on Amazon, or you can also go to my website is backoncoursegolf.com.
Okay. And that way people can get in touch of you, do a golf
Hmm.
outing or whatever.
Yep.
Well, all my
Yep.
best to you. And yeah, I'm excited with your next chapter. And what a blessed life you've led. You've
Well,
led a
thank
good
you. And I know this was inevitable because you've done the same thing. It's great,
I know.
Jim.
I have. And it's in my will. My attorneys drew it up. My wife had to sign it. There's one word on my tombstone. Next. And
Next.
next is going to be the next golf school in Sedona with
There you
Dave.
go. Love it.
Thanks a
Love it.
lot for being on Living in the Zone. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm your host, Zone Coach Jim Fannin. I've coached champions in life, business, and sports for 50 years with a proprietary thought management system that I discovered called SCORE. Every guest on this show has been in what we call a zone state, a purposeful, calm feeling where nothing can go wrong. And you're performing at your highest level. Thanks for watching or listening to Living in the Zone podcast. Make sure that you subscribe so you can be up to date on all of our information and content. Go to zonecoach.com where you're going to learn more on how we can help you live your life, business, or sport in the zone.